On July 20th, 1402, the most powerful Muslim ruler in the West was captured alive. Not defeated, captured. An emperor who had crushed crusaders, broken kingdoms, and nearly taken Constantinople ended the day as a prisoner, and his empire collapsed overnight. This is the story of how the unstoppable Ottoman war machine shattered at the Battle of Ankara. But this was not just a battle. This was a collision between two men who believed the world belonged to them. In the West, Bayezid won, the Thunderbolt, fast, aggressive, relentless. He expanded the Ottoman Empire at a speed no one thought possible. He crushed Europe's last great crusade at Battle of Nicopolis. He surrounded Constantinople. He declared himself Sultan of Rum, heir to Rome. There was no rival left, until one answered him. From the east rode a conqueror who had already burned half the known world. Timur. He had destroyed empires in Persia, smashed Delhi, taken Baghdad, broken the Golden Horde, defeated the Mamluks. He did not rule slowly. He erased, and when Turkish princes displaced by Bayezid fled to Timur's court, they brought something dangerous, an invitation. What followed was not diplomacy, it was insult. Timur accused Bayezid of arrogance. Bayezid mocked Timur's legitimacy. The letters escalated. Threats became personal, and somewhere between pride and power, war became inevitable. But here is what makes this story different. Bayezid was famous for speed. He overwhelmed enemies before they could react. Timur was famous for patience. He let enemies destroy themselves. One fought like lightning, the other like a storm front. When they finally marched toward each other across Anatolia, it was not just armies moving. It was ego. It was revenge. It was two visions of empire that could not coexist. And by the time the sun rose over Ankara, one of them would be broken, but not in the way anyone expected. Because this battle would not only decide the fate of an empire, it would accidentally save Europe and change Ottoman history forever. This is Thunder Meets the Storm. But to understand how the Ottoman Empire nearly collapsed in a single day, we need to go back to the letters that started it all. It began with refugees. When Bayezid absorbed the Anatolian beyliks, displaced rulers fled east to Timur. They begged restoration. Timur listened. Then came the letters. Timur wrote first, accusing Bayezid of illegitimate rule, of arrogance, of persecuting fellow Turks. Bayezid replied with fury. He mocked Timur's lineage, questioned his right to rule, dared him to battle. The language escalated. Timur warned, return the lands or face consequences. Bayezid answered, if you do not come, I will come for you. It was no longer diplomacy. It was personal. In 1400, Timur crossed into eastern Anatolia. He moved methodically, city by city. Erzurum fell, then Sivas. Sivas resisted. Timur answered with terror. The defenders were executed en masse. Some sources claim thousands buried alive. Whether exaggerated or not, the message was unmistakable. Resistance would be annihilated. 4. At the time, Bayezid was tightening the noose around Constantinople. The Byzantine emperor, Manuel Palaeologos, was desperate. But Timur's invasion changed everything. Bayezid made a decision that shocked Europe. He lifted the siege. He dismantled his encampments. He turned east. The Thunderbolt would strike first. Bayezid marched rapidly across Anatolia in summer heat. His army included Janissaries elite infantry, Sipahi cavalry, Serbian heavy knights under Stefan Lazarevic, Anatolian contingents from recently conquered beyliks. But there was a problem. Those Anatolian troops were loyal by compulsion, not devotion. Timur, meanwhile, did not rush. He maneuvered. He avoided direct contact. He destroyed crops ahead of Bayezid's path. He poisoned wells. He seized water sources near Ankara. He forced Bayezid into exhaustion. The Thunderbolt was being drawn into a furnace. The two armies met near Ankara. Timur arrived first and controlled the high ground and water. Bayezid's men were thirsty. The Timurid army was vast. Heavy cavalry, light horse archers, engineers, war elephants captured from India. At dawn, battle began. Bayezid did what he had always done. He attacked. Bayezid attacked aggressively. Serbian knights charged with discipline and force. The Janissaries advanced steadily for hours. The Ottomans pressed hard, but Timur's center bent, not broke. It was deliberate. And then something changed. Then it happened. The Anatolian beylik troops, whose rulers stood beside Timur, defected. They switched sides mid-battle. Suddenly Ottoman flanks weakened. Morale cracked. Timur encircled. Classic steppe tactics. Feigned retreat. Encirclement. Missile harassment. Isolation. The heat intensified. Water ran out. The Serbian contingent fought fiercely, even attempting to break Bayezid out. But numbers overwhelmed them. The sun climbed higher. The heat became unbearable, and the Ottoman lines began to fold. The Janissaries formed defensive squares. They resisted until surrounded. Bayezid fought until nearly alone. His horse was killed. He was captured, alive. The Thunderbolt had been extinguished. Timur and Bayezid finally met face to face. Accounts vary. Some say Timur treated him with respect. Some say humiliation. Some say he placed him in a cage. Modern historians debate the cage story. It may be exaggeration by European sources. But what is certain? Bayezid was a prisoner, an Ottoman sultan, captive, unthinkable. The consequences were immediate. The Ottoman Empire did not fall, but it fractured. Bayezid's sons began fighting each other. This period became known as the Ottoman Interregnum, civil war, fragmentation, loss of territory. Timur restored the Anatolian beyliks. He dismantled Ottoman unity in Anatolia. But here is the twist. Timur did not stay. He returned east. He had no interest in ruling Anatolia permanently. He sought glory, not administration. He died in 1405 while preparing to invade China, and the Ottomans slowly, painfully reassembled from the ashes. The Battle of Ankara was one of the most shocking defeats in medieval Islamic history. It proved the Ottomans were not invincible. Steppe warfare still dominated open battlefields. Speed alone could not defeat patience. For Europe, it was salvation. Constantinople was spared for another 50 years. For the Ottomans, it was humiliation, but also transformation. Because from this disaster would rise a new generation, and eventually, Mehmed II, who would finish what Bayezid could not. Dust settles over Ankara. A broken standard flutters in dry wind. A captured sultan sits in silence across the field. Timur surveys victory, not triumphant. Satisfied, two empires collided, one shattered. But history is patient, and thunder sometimes returns.